So, the inspiration for today's podcast is I saw this tweet, I don't know what you call it now that it's X, but anyways, I saw this tweet that said, I will never be cool enough to be okay with a non-white person saying the N-word. And I was like, that's right, because we're fighting. We're fighting. What you gonna do about it? so, so let's talk about it. Now, I don't condone violence in most situations. And, I'm very peaceable, but, there is no reason, and I've done, a podcast on this previously where, my opinion is known, where if you are not black, not even like a person of color, if you are not black, then that you have no business saying that word. That's my thoughts on it. And if you are in my vicinity and that word comes out of your mouth, I don't know what's going to happen, but I do know it may not be violence, but it probably will be. Especially if it's directed at me. I mean, you could be singing along to a song. You might get a history lesson from me, but if that's coming at me, we fighting. Basically, I can't. It's going to happen. I'm just saying the odds are, if you're a betting person, the odds are, get your hands up. But, there's people that are going to say, oh, it's just a word. And, that's not true. Words have meaning. Words have power. People will talk about mental health of everybody except for black people. There is, until racism is eradicated and equality fills our land and people don't feel the need to hurl that word at us as an insult and hurl it with the power they know that it has behind it, until that day comes, keep it out of your mouth as a non-black person. That's the rules. It's very simple, very easy. If you feel compelled to say it, then you have a problem. And that problem is the belief in white supremacy. So fix that about yourself. Go do some healing. And then you'd be surprised at how that desire to say the N-word leaves you when you are no longer a racist piece of crap. Yes, I do feel very strongly about this. I'm just listening to myself and I'm like, yeah, I guess I do have very strong opinions. Now, I do believe that because the N-word comes from a place of trauma in our history of being enslaved, that there are people, black people, that want to take that power away. And so that is the rationale for, using that word, with a, in any variation with most likely a, soft A, not the hard ER, as we like to say. And so, if that is their healing process, I don't want to, interfere with somebody's healing process and how they go through their trauma, because it is a trauma to black people. And if they feel that it, takes the sting out of it for them, if it's part of their healing journey, then they are entitled as a black person. That is part of their legacy. That is part of our trauma. Then if that's what they feel they need to do to heal, then absolutely. Non-black people, you're not part of it. All things are not for you. Say it with me. All things are not for you. Especially I'm talking to white people, and I'm talking to white people with white privilege. All things are not for you. If you have a problem with it, take it up with your ancestors. Don't come to me. We are the people that are, the result, have resulting trauma from the evils of your people, the burden is not going to be placed on me to make you comfortable and feel okay and give you more power than your ancestors, greedily try to enforce, and that you are definitely trying to keep going as well. So, you know what? Build a time machine and take it up with your mama, because it's not my problem. It's not my problem. We, as Black people, have the authority. That's right, I said it again, authority with a capital A, to tell you what you can say when it comes to our history and your history of being horrible, evil human beings. And as much as it, I was not enslaved, and just as you're not an enslaver, that legacy still carries down in our modern society today. It still has impact. And because of that, we have the authority to tell you about the use of that word. The end. So I'm going to end by talking about something I found really funny and very true. So comedian John Mulaney, very funny man. I can't remember the exact words, but him and his colleague were talking about two, derogatory terms, and one of them being the N-word. And, he was saying that it was just the two of them in this room, and, they were saying the other word, and then they were saying the N-word, and they were trying to rank them. And so John Mulaney was saying, which one is worse? The fact is that we're alone here in this room, and we can't even say it, the N-word. And he's like, that's probably the worst word. And I thought, good for them. Good for them. They had, I like that the ancestors were in that room with them, staying their tongue. So they couldn't even say it then. That is the right attitude. If you are a non-Black person, you can't say it in private. You can't say it ever. Ever. It's a no for you. So, yeah, that always makes me laugh. But yeah, so unless, when you get there, when you get that knowledge, when you are that aware of the history and the power of the word, I guarantee that the desire to use it will just leave your body. You will have a spiritual awakening of, that desire just leaving your body to say that N-word. And until you get there, that's a you problem. That you need to do your work, do your growth, because it has no business being in your mouth. So I'm going to end there. As always, thank you so much for listening. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll talk to you next time.